Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Amazing guests the world over with incredible insights. They've usually been through a transformative journey, or they're just doing what their unique life path is all about. They're here to help others. They're promoting awareness, consciousness, love within, allowing for more, and maybe a little bit of exploration too. Today, we've got an incredible guest from London, Richard Atherton. I'd like to call him Sir Richard Atherton only because he's the show host of an amazing show that's, again, all about being human, which is the name of the show, exploring consciousness, exploring our gifts within, exploring how we're helping others. He's the consummate, I don't want to say seeker. I want to say it's more like explorer, and therefore we're giving him the title of Sir Richard Atherton. He's also got a consulting business. Yeah, he's got a consulting business, so it's all about, how to run your business operations better, bring in more profit, restructure, how to run your leadership, executive coaching, runs the gamut there too. Richard, good to see you again.
Great to see you again.
And
I will never forget our last conversation. My God, that was something else.
You were kind enough to have me on your show. We might have taken a few steps and done everything else, and you definitely know how to feel energy. We haven't seen each other in a couple months, I'm going to say. How have you been since then? Anything new transpiring?
What's been new? I tell you what's been new is really getting hold of this idea that we've got this voice in our head that's constantly judging, evaluating, assessing, and mastery of life is mastery of the mind. It's that our ability to catch ourselves every time we go into the negative judgment, into that down place, is to feel into it, accept it, embrace it, acknowledge it, and let it go, and allow the joy to come up. And I'm just so present to that being. Well, another spiritual teacher I listened to, William Whitecloud, describes it as the battle of evermore. It's there for us for the rest of our lives, is this opportunity to engage, feel, let it go. And the more I can do that, the more I can feel joy moment to moment to moment. So it was apposite that you started before we came on air with a presentation of joy. Yeah.
Yes.
There she is.
Her in a little bit. Okay, so there's something called the heart down here, and there's something called thinking. We all do it. It's like being at the Indy 500 and circling that racetrack at 220 miles an hour. I don't know what that is in kilometers, but it's a lot. And it's like trying to hand out parking tickets. Constantly, we're judging, reacting, resisting, rejecting, you name it, everything. Talk to us more about the dichotomy between the two, the contrast.
Yeah, it's good to frame it as a contrast. I mean, it really is. I mean, when we're in the evaluation, when we're in the intellect, it feels like matter. Yeah, it feels solid. It feels like I'm treading and I'm pushing through life. And when I'm out of that, when I'm in no thing, when I can completely let go, and I'm like, let's get this straight. I'm a beginner in this. But when I can let that go, and I can be in no thing, when I can be in the void, what comes up? Joy, 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 joy. And that's the difference. And this is an opportunity that each of us have moment to moment to moment to live in joy, to live in love, or to live in materiality.
Beautiful. And hey, that's where you want to be as a beginner. The whole Korean Zen thing is called beginner's mind. And that just means there's nothing to learn. There's nothing to do. It's the slow down the doing, slow down the learning, get out of the brain, get beyond words, get to what you've already got down below here. And I'll try to do some of those Joe Shu quotes. Now, I'm never going to get the AD or BC right, but he might have been around in 700 AD. We're talking one of those Zen masters, Joe Shu, and all these funky quotes. It's usually a student running up to a master or a teacher and trying to show, I've graduated class, I'm ready to open up a shop across the street from yours and give you some competition. And then usually the teacher stuffs them and shows them that it's just more thinking, you're not in your heart. So here's one of those quotes. A student comes running up to a Zen master and says, "What about it when I seek to be Buddha?" And the teacher says, "What a tremendous waste of energy." And this is a student who doesn't quit. So he comes up with a quick response. "Well, what about it when I don't waste energy?" And the teacher smiles and says, "In that case, you are Buddha." So what's this thing about, do you think thinking is the way to go on most stuff? Obviously, we've got to think and do tasks, but when we're actually thinking and doing creativity, we're in our heart, or we're imagining, or we're coaching, or when we're sharing love, even though it's going to be business consulting in your world, when you're passionate about it, you're doing it from the heart. Talk to us about those dynamics. What have you noticed at workplaces when you go in and you're vibing out, you're Sir Richard Atherton, more on a conquest of the workplace, helping people understand how to be more efficient and everything else. Talk to us about those dynamics.
Right. I mean, whether it's the workplace, whether it's the family, whether you're in the queue at the gas station, it's the same principle. Can I bring love to this situation? Can I be present? Can I be in the moment? Can I be leaning into my intuition? And that's how we serve. That's how we serve ourselves. That's how we serve life. That's how we serve others. That's how we serve a leader in a business. It's the same thing everywhere. And and I think that's some that and I in terms of where you asked me where I was at, it's an awareness. It's an awareness that when I am in that mode, when I'm in that orientation to love, when I have joy present, everything gets better. My ability to contribute, the quality of my insights, the ability that I have to ask just the right question of my client is heightened, because the intuition always knows best. It always knows better than the intellect. I mean, and in some sense, is a hard realization, right? I trained as an engineer. I was a management consultant. All of my identity was wrapped up in my intellect, and now I see that can only get you so far. There's a stage beyond. There's ability to tap into a knowing which it's not of my intellect.
Richard Atherton, telling us to grow our awareness, not our thinking. I love this. So talk to us about the universe. These are only, age-old or man-made or eternal questions of man. How big is the universe? Is love the fabric of the universe? What are you starting to sniff out? What are you starting to have dawn or what dawning realization are you having? Or has it already hit you in the back of the head or full frontal about this thing called the universe, how big it is?
Great question. And well, what do we know from physics, right? We know if we drill all the way and all the way and all the way and all the way down, what is there? Space. Nothing. And there's something. And there's something in that space. So there's nothing when we think in terms of matter. There's nothing to bump into. It's 99.99999% empty space. There's no matter, there's no thing, and it's filled with energy. It has a vibration. And the way I think we experience it as humans, or I experience as a human, when I'm able to somehow get a sniff of that nothingness, what it feels like is love. And that's the essence of the universe as I experience it.
Sounding a little like you've been reading some Eckhart Tolle in the last 3 years, just a little bit, with the no thing reference and everything else. Have you read his stuff?
I've not read Eckhart Tolle. I've heard other spiritual teachers speak about this idea of no thing, and it resonates for me when I hit those moments in meditation. it's like I'm experiencing a void. There's no sense of my body. There's no sense of my identity. There's no sense of the chair I'm sitting in. So that's the experience of whatever's underneath the underneath.
Mm.
And it seems to match up with what we understand, from the natural sciences.
Now, for watchers, viewers, listeners, anybody having trouble sleeping out there, just get an Eckhart Tolle book. It could be A New Earth. Get the audio CDs, leave them around, leave them in your car for the drive. We don't want you falling asleep at the wheel, but if you're having trouble at night, just put the book on your bedside table, read 2 sentences. Your brain, your cleverness, your intellect will have to make a tough decision to let you sleep or to read that book. And you're going to fall asleep so fast, 4 sentences in, you're going to just set that book down. 6 months later, you've still only gotten 1 page, but you've gotten the best sleep ever. The brain does not want your liberation. The brain does not want the heart in the front seat of the car. And we're getting to a question here, which is, which guest on your Being Human podcast, or which 3 guests have just left you spinning in a rotating seat after they've come and gone? Who are you still thinking about to this day? Or what books? Is it Don Miguel Ruiz? Is it someone else that's influenced you? Who are you still flashing back to because you can't get over something, or you're still marveling because that's what you're seeing in your meditation or as you go through your daily life? Who's resonated the most?
Well, I mean, it's you, Michael. I mean, you.
We did not expect that answer. You've had a lot of guests on. You have a big show. And yes, we did some stuff off camera, on camera. But yes, this was not to draw that response. But keep going.
Right. Yeah, no, and I get that. And I get that wasn't contrived.
You're already invited back on. Don't worry about it. Okay.
And why is that? I suppose the guests that give me the most value are the ones that confront me to the greatest degree, right?
Yeah.
And you've confronted me perhaps more than there was another guest actually who spoke about his best friend who channeled the angel Gabriel. So it's interesting this angel pattern recurs in terms of those episodes I found most confronting. Like I've never seen an angel. I still haven't seen it. I've never experienced that. I told you I've experienced the void. I've certainly experienced a strong sense of having an inner knowing and an intuition. I've imagined speaking with a spirit guide, but I was never left with any sense of that was actually an angel that visited me. I was left with a sense of I've engaged my imagination, in a way that allowed me to tap into my intuition. But there is something very compelling, both about your energy and about your testimony when it comes to angels. And so I'm left intrigued. I'm like, this guy feels real. I resonate at some level with what he's saying, and he's telling me there are spiritual entities with personalities that we can engage with. And I find it intriguing. It feels like a stretch. It leaves me curious. It does leave me, with my head spinning because, well, what if that's true? And what if it is possible that I meet an angel down at Starbucks, right? These are fascinating possibilities. And that's why I actually love doing my show. Is because I come across people like you. I mean, not in a million years would I have met you without the podcast. I mean, I have never met before or since anybody who's ever spoken to me about having experiences with angels.
And I'd had Carl Jung, Einstein, Enrico Caruso came in. I didn't even know who he was, but the Italian opera singer from the 1920s. I had to look him up. And then angels started adding some of their galactic backgrounds. That's their origin story. They're still angels these days, but Andromeda, Orion, Sirius. You want to talk about having your head or chair spin? Holy cow. 10 years ago, I would have run for the hills. Today, I'm like, more love is more love. Details are details. What are you going to do? And then galactic figures themselves that are not angels, but they're still unconditional love. This may be easier to accept than angels, only because the whole UFO, UAP seeking thing is off the charts. There's more thinkers, more prove it, more photographs, more videos. Let's see the bodies. Who's doing what research, what tech going on? I mean, it's like 16 Indy 500s all at once. So a Pleiadian walks in, an Arcturian. It sounds like it's one of those bar jokes, but they're here. They're available. People can see them. I had a mind, body, spirit panel where the 3 women got to do it before the panel, but then on air, I believe I did both a Pleiadian, Arcturian, and angels that they could jointly see here. One of them might have had their mind blown, but the other two are perfectly fine about it. The point is, it's whatever you'll allow for. Talk to us about your daily allowing right now. You sound like you're definitely paying attention. That would be the biggest expression, and it is the biggest compliment I can give to anybody. If you're paying attention, you're out of thinking. You're, again, cultivating your awareness, and you're doing that with meditation, paying attention to the situations you're in. Talk to us about your daily, ebbs and flows and what you've been noticing this year.
So what I've added to my daily routine, if you like, or what I'm now committed to is developing as a habit. And this I got from David Hawkins, the another spiritual teacher, and he wrote several books, but one of them that resonated the most with me was called Letting Go. And having as a practice, having as a habit, this commitment to just pause whenever I notice myself with a negative thought or a negative feeling, to stopping the thought, to stopping myself, feeling into it, and letting it go, and then what I'm also developing. So that's like stage one, and the second stage is feeling in, sensing into where my energy is. Is my energy down in my guts? Is it in my heart? Am I up in my throat, or am I? And this is what I'm finding is very effective, is to almost imagine myself with a ball of light above my head, and imagining my energy rising above my body, and like literally imagining myself out of my head, or at least my energy being out of my head and tapped into somewhere else. And when I can do that, it's just such a gift. It's a gift to myself. It's a gift to my kids, because I can stop. I can be out of the judgment and the frustration, back into love, back into love, back into love. And I'm adding this to meditation, because I could sometimes, and still sometimes can, get to that state in meditation. Probably like, I don't know, 60% of my meditations, I get close to that. But now I've got all of this opportunity in the space between meditation, which might be 12 hours. I tend to do a meditation in the morning, meditation in the night. And that's a big difference, taking on a commitment to being in that state throughout the day. That's ultimately where I'm at, is can I, that's the question I'm now posing to myself, is can I be in love? Can I be in my greatness all day long? That's a kind of a nervous laugh as I say it, but that's my commitment now.
Let's take David Hawkins' scale from 0 to 1,000 right now, but let's convert it to a physical scale on your body. So, thinking would be here, heart would be here. You can modify it any which way. Where are you right now, roughly speaking? Are you here? Are you in that ball?
As in this very moment?
Yeah, in this very moment. And you've got permission to work on it and laugh. I'm not looking your way to give you privacy. But where are you right now?
I'm close to my heart. I'm around my heart.
Okay. So I'm going to put up a lighter and just name any color that you see. Is it gold, yellow, white?
Gold, yellow, orange.
Perfect. Yeah. Good. And in a second, I'll put it up. But let's do this. I'm going to put my hand up, only my highest intent. No bill paying side, no thinking, oh my God, my sports team lost. Jerks. Okay. So only my highest side, love and above, universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the fluffy stuff, the force from Star Wars. Are you ready to put your hand up in London, the London area, and do the same? Just put your hand up, feel what you can feel, love and above only, no tri-iota. I'll do this to distract your ego, and you're already breathing through your mouth, so that's excellent. Let me know if you feel a little bit of a vibe.
Yeah, I feel a vibe.
Okay, and then use words for that. Do you feel, is it a vibe, like a tingle? Is it more
like a tingle, an energy, a love? Yeah.
Okay. And I'm making this up as we go, so I don't want to go completely blank or I'm screwed. I'm going to whoosh you rainbow light. We're going to blame angels for this. It's just more consciousness, love, universal light, rainbow light. I'm going to do it this way, like there's an invisible ping pong ball, but you're not getting hit in the face by the ping pong ball. Instead, it's a whoosh. It'll go up and down your back or on your energy field. If you could breathe more for me, let the shoulders go up and down. I'll do it 3 times, low, medium, and high. The more you breathe is unofficially turning up the volume, but any tennis player, any sports expert, or whatever athletic person would tell you, yeah, the more you breathe, the more you're letting go. So here comes the first one. Feel what you can feel. Don't judge. My microphone's up here. I'm going to blow through it, and you can catch a little Hawaii in the air or wind on your nose as well. So I'm just going to look like I'm going like this for the audience. What are you going to do? I think my microphone filters that part out. Here comes the first one. It's low. Just feel a little extra something up and down your chakras. Richard, did you get anything extra in London?
Yeah, like a sense of something. Yeah.
Hold on. Let's get you on the record now so that 6 months from now, you can be like, well, I wasn't sure at the time and I never did quite peg it out. So I don't know. Did you get it or not? Yes or no for that little something?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Beautiful. Okay, now we're turning up the volume a little. Why don't you think of that one area of your life you could use a little extra whoosh of love and let the universe do it. Pick anything. It's good. We don't need to know what it is. Here it comes. A little bigger, though, up and down your back. And did you get like 5% more, 10% more?
Yeah, yeah, I got
20?
something like 10% more. Yeah.
Perfect. Now let's go big, go home. If you're already home, you have to go big. But if you're at work, let's still go big. Here we go.
Yeah.
And that was the last one. We'll put our hands down, but we're going to get you to talk. What do you think just happened? Did you feel a vibe? Did you feel some?
I did feel a vibe. I felt a vibe. Yeah.
Okay.
I felt it felt good.
Now we're going to move this around a couple more steps. I'm going to just show you my energy with the back of this, or this being the back. I'm going to lose all my English here. Blue sky is number one. If you're ever sitting at the beach or by a pond or a river flowing, gurgling along, or backyard just enjoying the day, you do this out of Celestine Prophecy, the movie. You can see light between your fingers, but I had a guest who was alive in the 70s, in her early 20s, maybe saying, nah, everybody in the 70s did it this way before the movie existed. So it predated Celestine Prophecy. In India, they do it this way. You can just see a little squiggle of light, a wisp, a flow. It can be clear. The more you breathe, though, and your shoulders heave ho, like really breathing, half the time you think you're breathing, you're like, oh, I'm going to take a couple breaths. It's an hour later, you're like, oh, I forgot. I'm thinking, I want to hug that dog. I want to go play with the kids. An hour goes by, you never did either. So thinking doesn't get anything done, except unless it's creative and down here. So I'm going to put my fingers up. You get another dad joke. This is the most important part. You get another dad joke. Where in a hospital? Because if you're laughing, you're letting go. It's a surefire way. Breathing, smiling, laughing, feeling good. Flashback to that memory that was incredible. Where in a hospital is the worst place to play hide and seek? In the ICU. And just see streams of light. It could be blue, gold, green.
Yeah, I can see it.
What color do you see?
Yellow.
Perfect. And that's usually, it is the Hindu chakras. Do me a favor, just shake your hands or something like you've got finger paint all over them and you want to get the place covered in paint. There you go. That's good. And you can stop. And breathe extra through your mouth. Ask for extra color to come in, but do one of your meditation, mindfulness, dropping to your heart techniques. So you just know you're 1% of 1% openness more. And do you see any extra colors coming in? Any extra flow?
Well, it's more like it just feels more solid somehow. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And we're almost done with all this nonsense because I'm going to put up this. And so ask angels, ask the universe. We know what that looks like. To do something extra around the top of it. Purple. Pink hearts, little flares of light, a single flare that maybe only you see, but each one of the audience members at home often sees something. So we're all going to be crazy. There's no way they can share it unless they comment, subscribe, like, and also there's always one more of those. Put the comment in of what you saw. If you look at my channel, almost 500,000 channel visits now. I've got people saying they smell sage, they're seeing the light. So it's what will you allow for? Give yourself permission. You're in your heart. You're doing the Zen thing, seeing without seeing. I'm going to lean out of the way. See if you can catch a little extra light that we know is not the Bic lighter on top of the light. Breathe through the mouth, shoulders heave ho, no triota. And of course, you're getting one more dad joke. Why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. He didn't have First Human as a consulting group.
I am seeing like a golden shadow around it, like an
Ah,
arc
and
around the
you're going to
plate.
go on the record today that it's not 6 months from now. You weren't sure at the time. You got that. You got a little extra something you know couldn't have been the Bic lighter.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. You're on a roll. I think I had one last thing, and we're getting back to a regular interview in just a second, but I had one last thing for you. Okay. So here's an angel named Joy. Just put your hand out and feel the vibe. It'll be whatever you feel. I've got 250 shows booked, 170 are in the books, done, all the way to July of 2025. Tons of people do this. Breathe, even put your hand out closer, like you're right up to yeah, there you go. Perfect. Feel what you can feel. I'm not looking at you at all. So breathe through your mouth. If you're not, shoulders heave ho. We all forget that. I got to remind every single person once a minute to do it because we tighten up when we try. No try Yoda. Always try Archangel Gabriel. It's not about words. Just do. I think that was out of Star Wars. And what do you feel in your hand or your whole person or yummy in the tummy, a wind in the room, 1,000,000 ways to feel the vibe of a universal love being or angel? You
Yeah, I
get
feel like a little breeze up the back of my spine. Yeah.
okay. Now, once again, if it's a baseball analogy, you hit 4 grand slams, rounded the bases, you drop the bat, you did the applause for yourself. The audience is applauding you, and you just put the team up 4-0 against the opponent. Now, the opponent is the mind. Talk to us more about some of the readings that you've done that you've really enjoyed. Classic authors, David Hawkins and others, Don Miguel Ruiz, Esther
I
Hicks.
don't know Don Miguel. Who's Don Miguel?
4 Agreements. It's been around for a while. It's 4 Agreements. I'm going to mess this up so bad, but don't assume. Always do your best. Don't take anything personally. And there's a 4th. So people watching at home, you'll know this blindfolded. What's the 4th thing we're missing? Put it in the comments. And he's a doctor who didn't allow for any of this. He came from a family in Mexico that had the lineage of being traditional healers, and he couldn't allow for it. He was trained in it, but he went into the medical field, and then he had a accident, and it was so severe he knew that was the life-changing moment. He had to get into the family business, and he's had since a heart transplant, so an extended play on his time here when he probably should have been or could have been checking out earlier. So with a heart transplant, he's still with us. He has 2 beautiful sons who are carrying the torch also, and they'll make the circuit, to Omega Institute and do the retreats, all the places in Europe and in the U.S. So they're pretty well known.
Right.
Who have you been enjoying, and then how?
So Joe Dispenza, I've been reading a lot, and that's had me in an inquiry about what is time. And in fact, I was thinking about this last night, and he cites in his book, Becoming Supernatural, this particular study where they gave a group of meditators these case records of some individuals. I can't remember what the sickness was, but they asked them to pray for healing of these individuals, and these meditators prayed for the healing of these individuals, and they found that indeed this cohort of patients, their conditions improved. Now, there have been other studies that have proved that prayer can have an impact. I think there's been studies on crime rates and various healing outcomes and the power of prayer. And so on one hand, that was not unexpected. But what was different was all of these patients experienced these illnesses in the past, right? So these weren't current patients with current illnesses. These were patients who'd had illnesses in the past. And these meditators were able to change the outcomes for these patients in the past, which is just mind-blowing. So they looked at the signatures of these illnesses that had been in the past, and they were no longer there. It was as if these individuals had not had these past ailments. And so that really brings into question this idea of linear time. And is time an attribute that we attach to our experience that isn't what we've habituated into thinking it is? Maybe it's not we've had things happen to us in the past that we can't change. Maybe we can have an impact in the future, in the past, as we apply our intention and attention to our experience. And that's something that's been having my head swivel.
Seth, the light being from the 1970s, people can meet him. He's the only one that won't do a corporeal light energy form. He'll just be like a Cheshire cat in the sky. But he gave us all the wonderful 1970 books from Jane Roberts, channeled through Jane Roberts with her husband doing the typing. And he talks about, that time is not just malleable, but the past isn't set. And a lot of that consciousness shifting, that's something I think Joe Dispenza and others talk about quite a bit. Joe is totally connected to the universe, but doesn't put those cards down on the table. He does evidence-based science, meditation. You go to he's got one of the strongest business models I've ever heard of. I don't know if it's 1,900 people for 6 days, 7 days at a hotel retreat. And, you're up early in the morning, meditating, building up that chi, the Shakti, the mana, and hardcore from what I've heard. There's an Amy Stark who's been on the show here probably 3 or 4 times who did this 1-week program with him and just loved it. She was vibrating out later when she got out. And a lot of it's very transformative and stuff like that. I don't know if people knew he had been in a bike accident in the middle of maybe a duathlon. And they said that he was going to have, spine surgery, stuff fused. And he put the power of intention to his back, and without any surgery, went beyond back to normal. And we're talking a severe accident, hit by a van, a truck, or something at 45 miles an hour, significant. So that's in the Heal documentary by, I'm totally forgetting her, Kelly Noonan Gores, who's been a guest on this show. She's fantastic. Check out that episode, but I think she talks about that a little bit. Her show's been acclaimed all over her film. But Joe is fun. Awesome to hear you mention him. What do you think's next for you? What do you view as the challenge for letting go? Where is it? What is it? You've got to have a few of those. And if you use the microphone, we'll hear you better. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. So the challenge isn't so much engaging in the process of letting go once I've caught myself, although sometimes that can be the challenge. The challenge is just noticing, hey, I'm off my center. I'm in frustration here. I'm in a sense of lack. I'm in fear. That's the challenge, is having the awareness moment to moment. What state am I in right now? What state am I in right now? What state am I in right now? And because that's like 80% of the job done, right? If we've clocked ourselves in fear, in lack, in frustration, in anger, at least right now I'm at the stage where for me that's 80% of the work, right? And then the shifting energy is I'm getting better and better at all the time. So yeah, so my edge, I think right now is that ability to have continual awareness of state and not losing myself in back, almost like it's almost like I feel like, I'm flying. I'm like at this stage of my spiritual development where I can take off. Like I can get out of my intellect. I can get into love and no thing. But then I'm like diving back down, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back on the ground again. Right. Okay. I better start flapping my wings, right? And I feel like I've got now this ability to fly. But I sort of almost just forget I can fly, right? I can forget that it's cool to be flying. And I find myself back on the ground again. And I've noticed I've stopped flapping my wings. And so yeah, my challenge is to how sort of maintain flight. I'm like one of these early, the Wright brothers, right? They can maybe make it across the field, but can you get to the other side of the country?
Whose energy have you been feeling when you walk into a room, a coffee shop, a pub, wherever? Whose energy have you been picking up on? And have you learned boundaries on this as well? So it's only love and above or fun energy. But what have you been noting about others, or how have you been interacting or intermixing your energy?
Well, the obvious one is my kids, because kids are so pure in their expression of emotion, and so now I can really see. I mean, it's obviously so glaringly obvious. Like, okay, and one of my sons in anger, right? They're raging. Or, okay, and can I be with their anger whilst letting go of my own frustration and anger? That's like, yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, look, your presence, you're paying attention to your presence. You're really uh, building that mat, if it's an Asian example, the teacher sits on, or the foundation. But something we haven't talked about yet, you're listening. You do this on the show. Your listening presence is amazing. And so you must be doing this at work and with your kids. Talk to us about the importance of a listening practice, being a healing presence, even if we don't call it that. But still, that's what you do. You create space and you let people talk. I've talked more on this show than I do as a show host normally. Talk to us about that healing, listening presence.
Yeah, so I find that in some ways is easier, because I can lose myself in the other person, right? I can find their energy, tune into it, be with it, and I kind of have less to do on my side. So I actually find, especially when, especially with somebody like you, right? You're clearly done a ton of work. You are very present. You are in your heart, and so you're very easy to tune into. So I've found that easy. And of course, it is absolutely critical to all of the work I do, whether you're a coach, whether you're a leader, whether you're a parent, whether, that there's no role in life where if you improve your listening skills, you don't get more effective in that role. And it's something you can choose to get better at, no matter your IQ, no matter your your physical ability. I mean, it's just entirely accessible as a skill to get better at any time in life, no matter who you are or where you're at. And so it's something I encourage people to develop, especially as leaders, which is what we're engaged in, but in general in life. Yeah, and yeah, thank you. And it's something I work on myself.
Carl
Yeah,
Jung, Einstein, or Geronimo, who would you choose to have a cup of coffee or tea with?
Carl Jung. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so here he is. Put your hand out, feel his vibe, and then just listen for a quick mantra from him or a reminder. He has a great sense of humor. Breathe through the mouth. Be in your heart. Your heart already knows how to listen. It'll sound like your voice for half a second. The second you let go, hear a little reminder from him that's to the point of everything you've been talking about today. What did you just get?
Laugh more. Yeah, laugh more.
Okay, and just for the record, because you're on tape and millions of people are watching this by 2028. Did you get that done okay? And there's no question, you just heard Carl Jung. It wasn't your higher self. It wasn't some other quadrant of the universe stepping in and imitating him.
Well, I don't know. Did I hear his voice? I'm not sure. I just what came to my mind was laugh more. Didn't have a clear
Oh, hold
voice.
on.
No.
I've got him right here one more time as I punch into code because I locked it up. Here he is, and just check, is it you? And then hear the most fantastic yes or of course, or he'll do a modern duh for you.
Wasn't
Like duh.
duh. I'm not getting a duh.
Did you get a yes? It's
Yeah. Did I get a yes? It's me.
well, I'll get you somebody different. It'll be Geronimo, older Geronimo. Everyone needs a seatbelt for this one. He's action, dry wit, humor. You'd think Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, a galactic being like an Arcturian would be stealing the show, but it's him. And he's got a great sense of humor, but he also doesn't talk in a formal, proper manner, yes, no, and anything like that. It's more like, duh, yeah, you already know the answer, or just do it. So with older Geronimo, let him do his job, breathe, catch one of those sacred smells in the air, tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, cedar, pine, one of those Native American scents. I don't have to light anything for this. We usually light sage on the show. And just hear from him that your hearing is perfectly good. You just have to allow more.
Yeah. Well, what I heard then was love more, he said.
And that means, did Carl Jung and Geronimo both tell you the same message?
Yes, so laughter's pretty close to love, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. Transformation. You do it for others, you're doing it for yourself. What are you learning as you go along? And I know you've already kind of been covering that, but what's another way to flip this pancake and share what you're seeing about transformation, whether it's a business, a person? Is it all the same?
One of the things I'm learning about transformation is that you could look at the way that I've evolved. The first phase of my transformation was working with all of my emotions and working with all of my past grief and unresolved traumas, and allowing all of that to come to the surface and to process it out. And that's been, yeah, transformative. I've become addictions have slipped away. I've become more emotionally stable. I've become more present to people. And what I'm discovering is that phase of transformation has its limits, because it's about me working on me. And I'm not the only element in this reality that I'm experiencing. Yes, there is Richard, and there is Richard who has trauma, and there is Richard who can do trauma release work, and there is Richard that can heal. And there's an entire field beyond this thing that identifies Richard, which can be, an enormous source of healing, of insight, of expansion. And that's what I'm becoming present to. So there's the transformation within the identity of Richard, and then there's the transformation which occurs, and I'm getting a sense of, that can happen on a much greater level. That's the letting go of Richard, and the and tapping into a different, a, a, a different set of stimuli, a different mode of orientation, a different set of connections. Yeah, it's great to be able to connect with the body. It's great to be able to connect into emotions. It's great to be able to express. And there's a different orientation that can allow for a new phase of transformation. And my insight, my senses are much grander. And I don't mean that from an ego perspective. I mean that from a soul or a consciousness perspective, a much grander opportunity for transformation.
Wonderfully said. I've got another figure for you. Give me 1 second. And it's the topic of transformation that's bringing this up. Here she is. Her name's Isabel. It'll be a historical photograph from the 60s. But you know how historical photographs absolutely can't move? Well, let's make the point this way. Let's bring in Audrey Hepburn. We know photographs can't move. You can't have a photograph that's still. We all know what a photograph is. We can't have a photograph wink, smile, shoulder waggle, eyebrow goes up, that stuff. It's impossible, right? Except it happens all the time. So the brain's going to absolutely reject the photo moving and be like, I didn't just see that. It's a great chance to meet the ego. The ego's in a little biplane, crop duster, half tank of petrol, can only stay in the air for 10 minutes. It's clever, and it definitely thinks it rules the roost. But the heart is in an F-18 fighter jet. And this is Audrey Hepburn, an angel. Let her move, wink, smile, eyebrow goes up, catch an uninvented perfume from Paris in the air, but breathe through your mouth. Start doing the being in your heart maneuver. Shoulders heave ho. Let her talk to you or just remind you how you've already got it all. Less doing, slow down the doing, more being. There's being by doing, doing by being. We've all heard this. To be or not to be, Shakespeare. Do, be, do. Do, be, do. And let her just talk to you in her voice. Catch that perfume uninvented. Put your hand up and feel the vibe. Let's juggle 6 balls at once. The brain can only get in and slap down 2 of the volleyballs. It's like that bystander at the Malibu volleyball tournament that runs out onto the court, onto the sand, and smacks the volleyball down right in the middle of the match. Security comes in and arrests the ego, intellect, and drags it off. Tasers them. Because the ego doesn't like love. Love and unlove. You offer the hug to your ego, and it's like, no thanks, I'll be back in 10 minutes. Do whatever you're going to do. Read the book, fall asleep. Let her do her job. Get out of your head into your heart. Feel a little vibe in the air. Just feel she's half sparkle, half grace. What are you getting from her? Just a little reminder, a few words.
I'm not getting. I feel a sense of joy looking at her. She's got this great smile.
Did you get any movement in the photo?
Nothing in the photo. No.
Anything on your hand?
No, nothing on my hand.
Okay, we'll come back to it. I got a different figure for you. Okay, so compassion, kindness, gentleness. That's the next question. I'll read a quote from an angel, 3 sentences. That's it. And we'll let that propel you forward into reminding us the importance of this all. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassionate to all. Do it. What's your reaction, Sir Richard Atherton?
Yeah, I love it. What a great message. What a great message. Yeah, I was reflecting on the interaction I had in a shop earlier today, and I was complimenting him on he'd refitted his. This is like a convenience store in my village, and congratulating him on the new look and feel of his shop, and it was awesome. And saying what a clean look it was, and he said to me, "Ah, yes, it reflects my clean heart." And I said, "That's right, BJ. You've got a pure heart. You've got a clean heart." And I really vibed off that in a way I don't think I would have done like 6 months ago or a year ago, right? Like I really, really responded to that. Like, yeah, you do have a clean heart, VJ, and I'm here to honor that and celebrate that and how awesome you are.
So you just gave us our next figure. I'm putting up a historical photo. This is over 100 years old. Sri Shirdi Sai Baba from India, straddled 3 religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, but he's Mr. Compassion and he's Mr. Miracles. And this photo will move as well. You can catch an Indian temple incense in the air. Like somebody just lit 10 meters behind you some incense from India. Breathe through your mouth, let go. Really practice that being in your heart. Drop out of the mind. No try Yoda. I'll do Yoda's voice in just a second for you. Do not. There is no try. He'll wink, he'll move an earlobe, he'll smile. You'll hear a couple words, just be love or be. Put your hand up and feel the vibe as well. Put up both hands. Let's not resist at all. And really feel. Go ahead and come closer to the camera with your hands and be committed. There you go. You got this. And what are you feeling? What are you getting? And of course, you're going to get a dad joke that is Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street, the little kids' characters out of Sesame Street. Nobody needs to know who they are. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert. Let him do his job. He's over 100 years old. He's Mr. Miracles, Sri Shirdi Sai Baba, Saint Bob. What are you getting? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? Anything. I'll blow through the microphone, but let India do its job. Highest vibe possible out of India. You feeling something?
To be honest, I'm not getting anything.
Oh, we came so close. We came so close. Okay, talk to us about one of the following. Attention, awareness, allowing, abundance, attitude, acknowledgement, acceptance.
Abundance. Yeah, abundance is a theme for me. Is a theme for me right now. And this idea that abundance isn't something we achieve a sense of through the extent of our material wealth. Abundance is a state of being. Abundance is a state of being, and something I've been working on very recently is, okay, if I had all of the material manifestations I want in my life, how would I feel? How abundant would I feel? And I feel relaxed. I feel joyful. I feel at ease. Okay, we'll choose to be that now. And that's a choice I've been making. And this goes hand in hand with the letting go, because the more I can let go, the more I'm free to choose a state of being, to choose to call for certain emotions, certain states and what this then allows me to do is be okay, right, okay, so I'm neutral now. I'm not being sucked into the ego. I can choose, and I choose to feel abundant right now, and choose to go about my business as if I had all of that, material uh, wealth that sometimes I feel like I want or need, and that's been transformative in terms of my experience of life, quality of life, sense of participation in life. Yeah, it's been magical.
Where you put your focus is where you put your focus. How you spend your energy is how you spend it. Positivity is abundance. But I'm going to ask you a question now about what have you noticed this year? Has there been extra acts of serendipity, synchronicity, stuff that you've just shaken your head on and been like, did I see that?
Yeah, I'm open to that. I have to say that's not happened, right? Like, and I hear this a lot in spiritual stories. Like, people will say, and I asked the universe to give me a sign, and then I got a check from my long lost aunt. And, like, I hear those stories. I'd love to have a story like that, from this phase. I don't right now. Like, nothing like that's like, maybe it has. I've not been, no, but nothing like that I'm really present to has shown up in that regard.
I'll put up 6 angels for you. 7. I can't do my math. There's a pink one that's Joy, blue is Charlotte, Min is my guardian angel. She's blocked out. August 30th of 2024, though. You can watch episode whatever it is with Dr. Karen Wyatt. When she was 10 or 11, this angel shows up as a hallmark white angel at the foot of her bed. And it's a beautiful moment. She's not terrified or anything. And from that moment on, as a little kid, she knew she wanted to be a physician. And here she is interviewing as a retired physician, reuniting or getting to know or connecting with that guardian angel again, and sharing with us, sort of looking back in time, how she became a doctor and everything else. And she got to run into that angel as a human for 30 minutes on the beach and have a chat in Redondo Beach, California. That's this angel silhouette, my guardian angel as well, but there's 80,000 of us that share that guardian angel or more, growing every day. Here's 4 archangels. Why don't you just put it out to them, so when we have you back on the show in late 2025, mid 2025, and you've got a serendipity moment, you can be shaking your head going, what did I ask for on the first show? So why don't you quietly ask for a little more synchronicity, serendipity, the acorn falling on your head when there was no acorn tree above you, but it must have been a bird, or the flower that you noticed that was growing in the middle of the parking lot, and when you went back the next day, it wasn't there, or the stranger that says just what you were thinking, and then you turn around and they're gone, and there was no place to go. It comes down to, for all of us, what will we allow for? But Richard, just let me know when you've gotten that request in, but you got to do the...
Yeah, no, I've made the request.
Yeah, set your intent. I'll do my last photo of the day. Joy, just put your hand up, catch a flower smell in the air. Let's juggle 7 balls at once so you can't track a single thing. It's going to be overwhelming. Catch flowers in the air, hear ocean waves, hear a musical singing, hear from her, love, 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 love. Leave your eyes on her, let her pulsate in the photo. Feel something whooshy in the heart or yummy in the tummy or down your back. Put your other hand out into the side of the room like she's walking outside. Yep. And see if she holds your hand as a human. Like you have a sister come into the room and hold your hand. Plenty of people do that. And just let her do her job. I'll talk a little extra. You'll get the fruits and vegetables joke. Why not? Your kids will love this one. The fruits and vegetables decide to throw a nighttime garden party. They string up the nightlights and hire the best DJ in London. In the middle of the party, a tipsy carrot, well, for the kids, an excited carrot, jumps up on the picnic table and yells, "Let us turn up the beat." And what are you feeling? What are you getting? Let her do her job. Close your eyes and see if you get any light on your eyelids. No triota. I'm not going to do his voice again. No need. Always try Archangel Gabriel. Not about words, but it's about what you were talking to us about. Dropping into the heart. Breathe. Shoulder heave ho. Be in your heart, which is a giant catcher's mitt in American baseball. You don't need to bat the ball. You don't need to outfield. You don't need to be in the stands. You don't have to sit in the bunker or whatever it's called, dugout. You don't have to pitch. You just have to receive. Pure Boxer Day meets your birthday, meets Christmas, meets 4th of July, meets New Year's, all wrapped into one. Did you get something somehow, somewhere, a sense somewhere?
Well, I felt relaxed doing it. I think responding to your voice, I didn't get a sense of joy showing up.
That's okay. That's why we're having you on like later. It'll be at least a 4 or 5 month gap. If you say yes, we'll wait till off camera and then put it to you. What would you want to wrap up?
I'm present to needing to let go of feeling bad for you. Like, oh man, okay, he's
Oh,
frustrated.
oh no. It's all good. It's hey, you are where you are, and you've already done stuff. You did stuff with me off camera. This is like, was it February? You did stuff that you rounded the bases back then. So I just don't have a very good memory of what I do for anybody. So it's all one big blank.
Sure.
Talk to us a little bit more though. Just you're unlocking you, and you know the universe is a little bigger. What groups, what channels have you been paying attention to on YouTube? What speakers, what other experts have you not mentioned that you do, they resonate with you?
I just started listening to Michael Beckwith
Hmm.
on Spotify. So it'd be interesting to get into his work. Is there anybody else I'm really tuning into? Right now, I mean, Joe Dispenza really like ticks a box for me because he does try and bring it back to a scientific basis. So it's much easy. I think it's much easier to quiet my intellect when I listen to him because he like keeps giving my intellect little sops, if you like. It's okay. It's okay. We're not away with the fairies. So maybe that's what I need right now. Like, is somebody with a foot in both camps. But at some level, I'm aware that's kind of a crutch, right? Like, my sense is there is an opportunity, there is a choice just to dive in and let go of any need to have this be justified on a scientific basis. Like, I definitely see that as a potential option, and just almost like what was the Rumi, there's the end of a Rumi poem I love, smash the jug and come to the river. Like, there is this this sense like I could just smash the jug, but I'm not ready to yet.
Oh my goodness, I love that. That is the coolest thing I've heard. You haven't smashed the jug yet. Can you just hear from Carl Jung that yes, I've seen the jug, it is intact. Just hear from Carl Jung, see him nod, hear him laugh. The jug is still intact. Did you get it?
I have to say I didn't get it from him.
That's
I heard
okay.
you say it.
Okay. I love that, but your jug is about to be disrupted a little. We'll call in pre-repair mode. Okay. Here's one of Michael Bernard Beckwith's compadres out on the West Coast. She's a guest on the show. She's wonderful. Wow, is she wide open, talented forever. And it's so weird I'm bringing her up. She also had an experience with the same angel in New York City when she was in her 20s working corporate America job before she got all intuitive. And that angel kept coming in, and she could only handle it for 30 seconds at a pop. Today, she's so wide open. You and I would be like, tell us more. We're just stunned to hear and see her transacting like that. No big deal. And you and I are like, I want what she's having. But so that angel kept coming in, kind of breaking her in a little to get just comfortable being outside of all the reaction, the thinking, the judging, and worrying about it. So I wanted to mention that. People can replay that part to see what episode it was, but it's Julie Moret, and she's just absolutely wonderful.
I might make a note of that now. Julie
yeah, it's
Moret.
And it's on my website. I have a master list from January of 2023 all the way to, we're about to go to August of 2025. We're about to be a year booked out, but there she is. And she's episode, whatever that is.
119.
Yeah. Episode 119, Friday, September 20th. So she's coming up in about a month. Should be a fantastic interview. I mean, I think everybody gives a fantastic interview. Even the ones who are thinking the entire time. I'll throw out a quote. And I love this quote because it's a great one to live by. And I feel like you're already living by it. In the end, love is what shows us life in different colors.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. And whenever I'm in love, I'm in touch with love, and I'm loving, everything seems more vibrant, more fun to play.
Where have you noticed that vibrancy? Is it the food, the colors on things, the flow between people?
The people more than anything. People shine brighter when I'm in that state. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. That's back to this kind of this allowing. Seems to be a theme in this podcast. It's an allowing to see the love everywhere, and it's yeah, it's a companion to awareness. Right? You can be aware, perhaps, that the universe is love, but to allow for that's another thing.
I'll do two Chogyam Trungpa quotes. Now, when I first met him, I'm like, oh my God, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. I can pronounce that word correctly. I used to say Rinpoche, Tibetan Buddhist monk who fled Tibet to go to India and America and so on. And he passed, I'm going to guess, in around 88. Plenty of people have met him and reunited with him. Two people who studied under him when he was alive from the 70s. One journalist in India who's on the video TV side of things had just met him in passing. Same thing with Mother Teresa when he was young. Here's a quote: taking one breath is like taking one step. Both bring peace and harmony.
I love that. I love that.
And I felt like that's what you were just saying. And then I have one more from him that's just as poignant. And this is so you. And I have these slides at the top of my front page of my website. There's about 30 of them. Well, there's a Jesus quote, mostly angels, Geronimo, whoever. I have to read this one first. It's so complex. I could never remember it. The way to experience nowness is to realize that this very moment, this very point in life is always the occasion.
Yeah.
And saying this 27 years or so after his death on the other side, which is almost more real than the waking dream we're in right now. You are truly the consummate explorer. I'm thinking of Bird. Was it Antarctica?
Oh, yeah.
Someone like that. And so I'm adding the sir. What's the last prediction? Do you have more exploration to do? A lot more?
It's not. I mean, it's like the exploration in some ways feels like the wrong metaphor because exploration implies a location. I don't have a location. I like the location is here. It's just allowing. It's just allowing for the dissolution of ego. And the embracing of love. Yeah. You know what? I think there is. I think that explorer was a big part of my identity. It's like, what's the modality? What's the healing technique? What's the route to rid myself of this addiction or that? So there has been a lot of exploration in my journey, and that's still a big part of me, right? I'm constantly reading like new spiritual teachers. So it's not like that's completely gone away. But what I really get is that the next phase, it is smashing the jug and diving in. It's not necessarily finding new territory. Yeah, I'm not I don't need to go to Antarctica. I just need to be more in love with self, big self. Yeah.
Brilliantly said, very passionately said. I'm hearing scraping sounds on a shelf, and the jug is now 3 inches, starting to teeter precariously at a great height. Okay, I've got last figure. You got no pressure here. I've only done Rumi like 3 times for people. It's I've heard of Rumi forever. I've certainly loved the quotes, but he just came in. He's available. Why don't you hear something about the jug or something, just 2 words? Breathe extra for me. Close your eyes. No try. Close your eyes, breathe through the mouth, see a little bit of light on your eyes that you can't, you're like, yeah, I got something. Get a little whoosh up and down your back, top of your crown chakra, above your head.
I am getting a tingle with this.
Yep, get the tingle, but allow a word to come through. It could be dove. Like I got the word dove on South Congress of Austin, Texas. I'm in a week-long period where I suddenly realized half the people I know are intuitive. And it's not that I doubted intuitiveness. I had a close personal relation with someone who was totally intuitive. I got goosebumps. I never doubted her. But here I am. I'm in the frying seat. My jug is not broken yet. I'm sitting with a British rocker on South Congress in Austin, who I think safe, forgetting that all musicians, artists, and athletes are already fully plugged in and intuitive, whether they call themselves that or not. And he stops in the middle of having a beer because I am going to stores and someone comes up and goes, "You're on fire. I see your energy. You're popping." And I'm like, "Oh my God, another one of these people. They're doing the L thing. They're delivering a message from above and telling me something." And I just like, I go to a concert, South by Southwest. I don't want to talk to anybody. I am literally there to enjoy the music and not talk to a human soul because this is freaking me out. The official photographer stops what she's doing and says, "Oh my God, you're on fire with your energy, your aura." I'm seeing it. We became friends. She helped me out a lot later to understand this stuff. So with that, breathe through your mouth. You're getting a nice experience. Breathe, no triota. What'd you get?
Got get drunk.
Oh my God.
No, with alcohol.
With love?
Yeah. 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 Get drunk, Richard.
With life, with love, with all of it. Richness.
Yeah. Which I love. Because of course that my past is alcoholism. So
So we're gonna just create a new verb here. You've been roomied.
I've been roomied.
Okay, and last crazy question. Have you ever been told you look like a British actor from the 70s, 80s, 90s, or more recently, and which one? Or which ones?
No, never any British actors. There's an ex-tennis player called Andrew Castle. I went to a comedy show a while back, and the comedian described me as a shit Andrew Castle.
But no Michael York? No Michael York when he was younger?
I don't know who Michael York is.
Battle of Britain, Three Musketeers. He might have been D'Artagnan in the
I haven't watched those movies. No, I don't know Michael York. I've not had that. It's funny enough, tennis players seems to be the thing. I've also had Stefan Egbert.
Egbert. Yeah, I could see that.
He was a Swede. Was he Swedish?
Yeah. And this is the last chance for the audience to subscribe, like, share, comment. Who does he remind you of? And let's give a little bit of praise for how bold, brave, beautiful he's been on the show. I think people, at least 5 emojis worth of bravery. He's taken a lot of steps, taking a lot of chances. But what are you really doing? You're going from here to here. And so this has been Sir Richard Atherton. I'm sticking with it. Not the consummate explorer, the consummate allower. Allowing
there we go. Yeah, it needs a better ring, though, doesn't it? Consummate allow doesn't say.
Allowing more, loving more.
The consummate something, yeah. But you're right. It's allowing that. That is the. Let's go with that. That's the essence.
Allowing more, loving more, letting the universe serve up the next dish.
Yeah.
Okay, you've done, I'm sitting here talking to a show host who is, in my mind, is super successful, popular, fun. You've got amazing guests. You know how to wrap up a show. What's your pep talk to everyone out there? Pretend this is the end of your show. You've been inspired a little bit right now. You've been put on the hot seat, so thank you for your patience. What's the final reminder? This is it. And then we're saying goodbye and signing off. No pressure.
Listen to that little voice. Weird your way to God. Do the weird thing. Dive in, do the weird thing. And keep building that faith in your intuition. Yeah, that's the message.
Life is a feast, partake. Dolknife said that once, but that's what you're reminding me of. And brilliant. Richard Atherton, you're the best. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing you. And thank you you go hyper passionate and everyone can feel it. So again, comment, like, share, subscribe. You got to do it. It's the end of the show. Thank you so much from London, the London area, for coming on this Angels Positivity and Love show. You're the best. You are the best, Michael. I'd say you're a good judge of character, but I've been saying that way too much lately. I'll take the compliment and just allow and love more. Yeah. And your shirt game is just on another level. I get a little help. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you.